Welcome to the Fan Show. I will be talking to a number of Spurs fans from around the world, and we will be discussing that Hoffenheim 2, Tottenham Hotspur 3 game, which, I'll be asking them many questions about how they felt about it. But for me, just a very fortunate victory for Tottenham Hotspur. And listen, I guess the victory was the important thing, but wow, really, really frustrating as far as I'm concerned. Just the way that we conceded so many chances of the same ilk, of the same kind of goals that we've been conceding time and time again this season. I'm just going to ask Reza, who is in the stage, is your camera working, Reza? Because if so, I'll come to you soon. If not, I will come to you further down the line. The goals were scored, of course, 2 by Sonny and 1 from James Maddison, an absolutely brilliant goal for the first one. But the important thing about this game, this part of the show is that I will be talking to Spurs fans from around the world. So I'm going to get started with, let me see who have I got here. I'm going to get started with Matt.
Hey, how you doing, Barnaby?
Thank you so much, mate, for coming on. Tell me, mate, what did you make? Where are you today, Matt?
Well, I'm in my basement right now, but I'm in New Jersey, in Waldwick, New Jersey. I'm working from home today, so
okay,
just be very quiet about that.
What did how did you feel watching that game? What did you make of it overall?
I think in your synopsis, in the previous synopsis, you mentioned something about a basketball game. I think that is a very good way to describe Spurs at times. There were times today during this match where we did have full control, and you could see that all we needed to do was just turn it up a gear, and we could pick them apart, and then we would drop back, and then we would invite the pressure. So it doesn't make sense to me why we constantly do that, but in almost the same vein, I do understand, because these players are completely knackered. I mean, they're dying. You could see them. You could see them actively thinking about when to conserve their energy, about when they should be pressing, when they should not be pressing, and it's a lot of emotions came and went during that match. So, but the important thing is, like you said, is we got the 3 points. I think the young players could learn from that. I think, it was like one of those backs to the wall performances, which I think could be beneficial for a squad, especially a squad that's been under a lot of pressure lately from the media, from a lot of critics, I just think I see the positive signs of it, the positive side of it, but at the same time, I'd be blind to be able to watch that performance and not see the negatives.
Listen, obviously you've heard me both probably during the watch along and in my post-match reaction talking about how frustrating I find it that we are conceding the same goal again and again. Am I just going mad? Am I the only one seeing this? Or is that just the thing that is most naive about this Tottenham team, injuries or no injuries at the moment?
That is definitely a flashpoint. We have seen that goal come numerous times, especially directly at Pedro Porro earlier this year. I think we saw a few coming from the opposite direction, and they would target Destiny. I think that might be part of the way the defensive structure is, especially when they're trying to dig deep, when they're defending deep, that the fullbacks and the center backs, they don't have that space anymore. And now they're right up on each other, which allows for that additional run completely unchecked, which then gives them all the time in the world to check, to pick out their player in the far post. I'm not going to disagree with you right there. It's very frustrating. I mean, it's, again, I hope that it just comes down to we're exhausted. We don't have like our first choice, but you see a lot of the same things. So hopefully, maybe it's just Porro. Maybe he just really is a wing back. When we bought him from
he needs help. He needs help. Any fullback needs help from the person outside them. And we don't need, when Kulusevski plays, when Brennan Johnson especially plays on the other side, we don't help our fullbacks enough. And I've just put on the screen there, Eddie saying in the comments, focusing on the wrong thing, Barnaby. And maybe, this is where it's important for me to say, of course, of course we have so many injuries and we had 5 teenagers on the pitch at the end there. And these are all important caveats. But my fear is it's actually been 18 months where we've still been conceding those goals for 18 months when we've had our best players on the pitch and when we haven't. And I don't want to be negative anymore because I was negative in that post-match reaction. And look, we have won the game. Now let's talk kind of more positively about this Europa League thing now. If we get a result, a win, I think, or a draw against Elfsborg, we will miss that playoff round.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think now we have what it takes potentially to go on a proper run in this competition?
Provided we do show up next week against Elversberg. I believe they're in the bottom 4 or bottom 6. I believe they were speaking about it during the match today. With this win, I think they said it takes us up to 4th, which puts us in a great position. And we don't want to go through that February death match where we have an additional 2 games. I mean, we got big matches coming up left, right, and center. February corresponds with, like you were saying, with when our players come back again. It is very disheartening, though. I just want to state that it's very disheartening that Ange again has said the same story, which the previous manager has said, which the previous manager has said, which the previous manager has said. Oh, it's very difficult, but the club is working very hard to bring in players. I mean, this is where we're desperate for players. It's very disheartening to see that we're basically kind of just saying, well, we'll see how it works out. And look, you got to win. I guarantee they'll be like, well, we don't really need to put any investment in the team right now. It's pretty sad right now.
It can be just a good. Thanks for the super chat there, Philly Hotspur. Another 10 out of 10 Barnaby Watch Long cheers. I appreciate that. So just before I let you go, mate, obviously Leicester at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about that one? Is this an opportunity for Spurs to go 3 wins in a row, Leicester then Elfsborg, and it would be what, 4 out of 5 if you take away the Everton game? Didn't we get a win before that? Am I being mental? Yeah, just about with Tamworth, didn't we?
We got one with Tamworth and we got the Liverpool one. So, I mean, if we get 3, if we get against Leicester and we put in a good performance and then we go against Elversberg, if you look at it a certain way, we've won, 5 out of 7? So it's not really a bad way to look at it. But I do think for this weekend, Leicester is going to look at the way that Hoffenheim were just spamming crosses at the end. They're probably going to try to pull the team apart and get those deep crosses in. I mean, hopefully we just respect Leicester and realize that they are a Premier League team for a reason and attack them, pay them respect, but at the same time, just rip them to shreds. We have seen this Leicester team concede goals at a pretty frightening pace, even worse than our pace at times. But I think that we should be able to get at them. I'd like to see a start for Mikey Moore, but Sonny scores 2 goals. How do you drop him? I mean,
no, I don't think it would drop.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm positive about this weekend. I think we definitely could get all 3 points, and I think we could continue the good run into Elversberg, and then who knows? Then it's a completely different narrative. And by some miracle, Barnaby, we bring in a player or 2.
Let's hope so. Listen, Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it, and hopefully speak to you soon. Cheers, mate.
All right, take care.
Cheers, mate. Okay, let's next go to I've got the wrong person. Sorry, G. I will come to you later. Don't worry, I will come to you later, G. You weren't there, but actually I'm going to go to Reza, who is in South Africa. Reza, can you hear me, mate? How are you feeling after that game?
Good evening, Barnaby. I'm okay. I'm okay. The positives to take away after the game was we won, right? We got a result, but our performance was pathetic, right? I tell you what, we don't have a leader at the back, someone who controls the game, someone who calls the shots at the back, someone who settles the back 3 or back 4. No one. We don't have a person or a player who even controls it. Even when we're playing with our famous back to Romero and Van de Ven. Yeah. There's no one who controls it and calls the shots. Someone should be really the boss man at the back, right? And also, this game is about intelligence.
Yeah.
Right? We're lacking a lot of intelligence at the back and the midfield. Believe you me, And the midfield, we gave the ball away lots of times. I was counting. I think Kulu gave the ball away 4 or 5 times in good spaces and in good positions. And our 50-50 challenges were not there up in the air. I'm sure you picked that out. We were just standing and watching them go up in the air, put it to where they want, and that was pathetic, man.
We don't really have any physicality. I mean, I guess Bentancur is a little bit physical, and Richarlison was a bit physical, but and obviously Dragusin. But apart from that, there is a lack of physicality, and that's what worries me actually with some of the names that are being talked about in the transfer windows to players we're trying to get. We're being linked with quite a lot of kind of quite diminutive small players, and I think what we need are players who can play handball, very good technically, but are also more physical, because any successful side in the Premier League, I think you'll mostly see it has a very strong physical spine who can also play good football with their feet. And at the moment, we're a little lightweight, in my opinion.
Agree. Barnaby, to play the Ange ball style, you need strength, you need skill, and you need speed. Those are the 3 things that fits in the puzzle for Ange. And he doesn't have those players with those attributes. Okay? Yeah, so that's where we're lacking. And I'll say it again, that when Sonny was in the park, we play with 10 players. Sonny had his days. His race is run. Believe you me, his race is run. It's time we need to find a replacement. It's time we need to find a replacement. Really.
What I would say about Sonny is I wouldn't go so as far as that, but what I'd say about him is, it was great to see him, especially with that second finish today, where that was kind of almost like a trademark Sonny finish. But what clearly needs to happen for me is Sonny needs to be rested more, so that then he has fresh legs when he can come on against tired defenses and can get into those positions where he finishes. There are just far too many times where he loses the ball when we need our players in that final third to keep it, so that we can bring our players up the pitch. But without Solanke on the pitch, we're really struggling to keep it in that final third again, which is something that we were struggling with so much last season as well.
I think we're going to battle against Leicester. I'm happy that Davis is playing very well at the back.
Yeah, gives us great balance.
Well, you know what? Yeah, he gives us balance. But Dragusin, to me, when he's under pressure, when those balls coming up in the air and the striker is tight against him, Dragusin is not someone you can rely on. Really, that's why he's been sitting on the bench when we had a fit Van de Ven. Right? But I asked myself the question: why wasn't Spence registered to play in Euros? They thought he wasn't good enough. But Spence is about the best defender we have in all positions, from right back to central defenders to left back. Spence will outdo everyone beside Van de Ven with speed. Right? Yeah, why did they overlook him and they got an extra goalkeeper in?
Yeah, I've said my piece about Jed Spence a few times on my channel, which is I feel like with Jed Spence, it must be that he's quite a kind of laid back trainer. I think he must be, because that's why I guess Conte wouldn't play him and why Ange didn't like the cut of his jib early on. But just because you're a laid back trainer doesn't mean that when you get on the pitch, and there are lots of people. Eden Hazard is a great example, right? Lots of his players who played with Eden Hazard for years said he was the worst trainer they'd ever played with, right? But then you get him on a match day and he tries things and he's brilliant. And I think Jed Spence is kind of similar. He's been one of our best players this season. And you know what? In a weird way, I'm quite happy he got a little rest tonight now that we got a victory, because he'll be back and in good shape at the weekend.
Yeah. You think we're going to get anyone coming through the transfer window?
I think we have to.
Believe that?
I think we have to, because I genuinely think if he doesn't find a way to buy anyone this transfer window, there will be riots. Like I'm exaggerating, but there will be the noise, the anti-Levy noise will be so loud at the stadium and on social media. Where Johan Langer, the sporting director, would be asked to come and give an interview where he has to say, "Oh, sorry, we weren't able to get any players over the line who were exactly what we were looking for." I'm sorry, there'd be riots, I think.
Barnaby, who do you think needs to go?
I don't think anyone goes at the moment. We can't afford to get rid of anyone.
No. I haven't finished yet.
Oh, sorry.
Who do you think needs to go? Levy and Enik or Ange? Who needs to go?
I think. Listen, I've always said I'm not anti-Enik. and I'm not pro ENIC either. I'm a kind of a be careful what you wish for type person. Now, listen, what I would say about ENIC and Levy is, do I want us to be spending a higher percentage of our revenue on wages? Absolutely. If you look at the amount of money Spurs have spent on transfer fees in the last 8 windows, it's actually within the 3rd or 4th or 5th highest. But in terms of wages, we are way down in terms of percentage spent on wages. And there's a lot of talk with people I've spoken to about that being because we have to stay at our kind of AAA rating, credit rating, so that when they look to sell it, the people coming in will be able to take it with a AAA credit rating, et cetera, to get loans out, et cetera. So there's a lot of financials there that I don't fully understand. I think there are much better chairmen around, but I think there are much worse chairmen around as well. And I'm always a bit be careful what you wish for. With Ange, what I think, as I said in the watch along, is I fear for him because, like I said, the same goal being conceded time and time again. And I do think he has to take some responsibility for the injuries, because no other club, as far as I'm aware, and I'm happy for people to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, no other club has ever got as many muscular hamstring injuries as we have. And Ange has said before, muscular and hamstring injuries come with my style of play and my style of training. Well, it's too much for the Premier League. You have to change it because it's the Premier League. It's bigger, it's better. Every single club has elite players who have more stamina, and it is injuring our players. And if Ange Postecoglou cannot get his first team on the pitch, he will never get the results and he will lose his job. And that is why I fear for him.
Barnaby, what's your opinion on our backroom staff?
I don't know enough about the backroom staff to know. I see some people in the comments saying, you know, Ryan Mason needs to go. He's a yes man. He's useless. Ryan Mason is just a young coach trying to pave his way. We don't know about what happens on a day-to-day basis. I can't really comment on that, mate. Let me just ask you one more question before I let you go. What do you think is going to happen to Postecoglou? Do you think he's going to last the season? How is this going to play out?
Well, I had a discussion with a mate of mine. I reckon if we lose against Everton, and had we lost tonight, that was the end of Ange. He was gone. I think he'll get a reprieve after winning tonight. And the Leicester result is very important. If we don't get a good result against Leicester, he's gone. I think he's gone.
There you go. Said it how it is. Thank you so much, Reza, for coming on the show. Thanks for being part of the show. Hope to speak to you soon, mate. Have a good night. Cheers. Oh, I cut Reza off a little quick there. Apologies. I'm just going to say to Chris, I'm going to come to you next if you turn your camera on. If not, I'm going to move on. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. Thanks for all your comments tonight, guys, as well. Really appreciating all of them. Also, make sure you do subscribe to Chris's channel at Chris Cowlin on YouTube. And also, I'm getting near 15,000 subscribers on my channel as well. Go to @Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube for daily Tottenham and transfer news. Okay, for the second time, I'm coming to Brazil and G, one of our regulars. G, how are you, mate? And what did you think of that performance?
All right, mate. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, then, Barnaby. How you doing, mate, before we carry on?
Well, I'm a little stressed. I feel like it was pretty naive. It was another game where we've had 5 goals in the game. I thought there was easy opportunities for us to just take a little bit of a breather in that game and knock it about, and we called them on. We allowed them to take control of the game. And listen, all the caveats, the injuries and the exhaustion, I get it.
Don't say but. Please don't say but, though, Barnaby. In what you're going to say now, please do not say but. Don't say but, because you're just giving all the exclusives. But go on then. Go on.
I'm just saying, I just think there were ways that the midfielders could have come and helped out their back line and the goalkeeper and taken the ball off them and popped it about and made Hoffenheim work their nuts off, get knackered, and then we could have scored a couple of goals and won it 4-1, 4-0.
Would have been great. That would have been a really nice way to have also won the game, but we won the game. And at the moment, every game we play is like a lifeline to us, because all those things that you say about, and everyone still says about before they say but, you can't just say but. That is it. Injuries, knackered. Sonny scored that goal. It's a trademark, as you rightly so said. And I thought exactly the same thing. It's a trademark Sonny goal. But he did it in the even more casual way. And it wasn't because he was being casual. It's just really, I think he was on his last legs. I'm really glad he got taken off in the end. He had that opportunity, you know. But all the reasons that we're saying is that I'm going to rejoice in this win, because I actually thought, when I looked at what was getting on, who was getting on the bus, the disarray of the whole nucleus of the team, the way it was all disjointed as it always is, with these players and that we played Lancashire in the end, then I think, we're lucky to get with whatever we get, no matter who we play. I'm not saying, no disrespect to the team we're playing. They're not good and they had their injuries, and you can say all that, but they're going to be out in force. They're going to come for us. You know what I mean? They're playing Tottenham. They want to show their worth, every single player there. And I think they did that all game. They were so hard on the press against us. They knew it. We didn't have the legs. Even if we could have got the ball out or played a different way, there's no way we could have sustained that. The players were shot yet again.
Can I just ask one question then? Sorry to interrupt.
I did say this like 3 or 4 times back. This is going to get a lot worse before it even starts to begin to think about getting better, because the 3 and 4 days traveling away, this is Everton was the first game of this run. And I talked about this run, right? 3.6 days apart for 3 months. It's not sustainable. The fact that we had over a 14-day period, 5 matches. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know people go on about the training and blah, 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 but no, the crux of it is this. We play far too many games in far too short a period, more than any other team in the Premier League or anywhere else in the world. All right. That has to stop. This has to stop. The FA has to jump in, because it's not just us, it's everyone else. Playing internationals throughout the season is ridiculous. That one's a waste of space. That, trashing good football in order to go and play that rubbish. Yeah. And I think there should be other rules laid in place, for this sort of thing. Like so many games can't be played, like 5 games can only be played in the 21-day period or something like this. You know what I mean? Like 5 days apart at the very least, this sort of thing. Anyway, I digress there, but I'm happy with the win, mate. I'm happy with the win because we got there and I never thought we'd do it. I didn't think we would win this game before we played.
Well, G, I appreciate your positivity, and you're a stronger man than I. So let me ask you then, where do you think this is going to go this season with Ange? Do you think the cups are going to save him? Do you think he's going to make it to the end of the season, then there'll be a reassessment? Or do you think, I guess similar to the first point, do you think Van der Ven and Romero will come back and Bassoon will get fit and Johnson will get fit and eventually Solanke will come back and actually we'll have a halcyon second half of this season?
Yeah. I mean, it's all a Mystic Meg kind of scenario, isn't it? Every time. But like I say, these players were dragging. They're gone, man. They're absolutely gone. They don't want to be doing this all the time, And I know they're fit. They paid a lot of money and all the rest, but that doesn't mean anything, It's not PlayStation. You can't just reset it and start off again. So as far as looking to the future is, and what Ange's thing is, I really can't say, because I don't think any of us can say that, all that I can say is we face a mountain of a task. I think getting a draw against Leicester will be an astonishing result for us if we do, just purely based on what we're going through. Everton was the first game, by the way, in 7, 5 of which will be away, all of which are average of 3. We've got a less than 25-hour period of changeover between our game with Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just looking.
They'll move that back. They'll move one of those games.
I'm looking at that. 5 games and this game being in Europe as well, out of 7 away, and they're not easy games. We've got those 2 games up north, the Midlands and up in Liverpool. So I'm hoping they will do that, because otherwise it could be disastrous. As for Ange, I think I just have to hope that he's going to carry on being there, all the way through this and get us out the other side and then get those players fit. So we're talking February, but it's not February, it's mid-February. By the time these players get fit, match fit as well, and introduced as they should be, they can't. I know they're going to be trying bulldozed in, but they've got to take their time, otherwise it's going to happen to them. As far as some of the players go, though, and it's really nice to see Mickey Moore again out there. Bergville's fantastic. Gray again doing his stuff. Like you said, I think it's great that Spence had that time out. He said this week he needs that few days extra. Although I think he's still one of the strongest players we've got, to be honest with you. He still does not stop. He's absolutely remarkable. Kulu needs a rest. And even then, he still gets that little burst of energy every now and again. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what we're up against, And I think for the game ahead, I want to concentrate on this game, but for the game ahead, I think there's something they're going to need the rest in. But for this game in particular, I think we just did what we did, you know what I mean? And we got there. We're through. We're going to be through. We've got another game to come, and you know, I mean, all that's gone on, everything that's gone on, all the bad luck, all the handballs away, all the just missing penalties, and God knows what else that went with it. People getting ill and Bentancur's. I don't know, man. But Bentancur could write a story about all the things that went on with him this year. Yeah. With all these things that have gone on, you know, here we are, and today we are just about over the line hopefully without having to go through that playoff part of being in another latter stages of a cup, which is
that is good positivity. I like that, G. Let me just ask you one more question before I let you go. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano is saying that Spurs are in fact trying to get 2 players through the line, over the line. Sorry, where if that is the case and we can get 2 players, what positions do you think they are? Do you think it's as simple as we need 1 centre half and 1 forward?
Yeah, I think the centre half, yeah, definitely. You know, I feel for Dragusin as well, you know, because I think he's always going to be a number 2 for us. You know what I mean? No matter who we get in, if we get someone else in, I think he's going to be pushed down to number 3. That's the way it's going to go, you know. And I think he's tried hard. He's done all he can for us. And I'm not knocking the guy. You know, he's a Spurs player. He's trying to give it. He wants to. Obviously, he's not going out there thinking, "Oh, I'll just put in half a shift a day, collect my wages." I'm sure he's not like that. He does try, you know, but he's just not got it in him to do those things. I've said this many times before about who gets the protection, whereas on Spence's side of the field at the moment, and where does Porro get it? He's not getting it from Dragusin, you know. Right. We never get it from that side. You know, today was another day where we're not going, "Oh, where was Johnson?" Do you know what I mean? Because it's not about that. This is not what it's about. We can blame, yes, of course you can put this on Ange. He's got to sort that side of the field out. You know, these crosses coming over to the back, it's happening far too many times. But I think man-wise, we need the players to be able to do that. You know, who's in midfield as well, running back there, tracking back. You know, I remember the other week, Sarr wasn't exactly doing it. He's a young player, I know, but you know, I agree with you. I think that's the position we need to sort out. But I'd like to see us with somebody in the midfield. We never replace the Dembele, and we never replace the Modric. You can't replace the Dembele, and you can't replace the Modric. They're one-offs. But I'd like to get a little bit closer and closer and closer. You know, I know in pre-season, didn't we play Bergvall and Gray in the middle, and it was an absolute disaster.
Yeah, but they're kids. They're kids, mate.
They are kids, yeah. So we need something now, though. You know, if it's going to be there, you know, Bentancur, he's got the experience, so he can do that. But I think we definitely do need somebody else in there that can give us a bit more strength to be able to stop that ball and hold it.
Totally agree. Listen, yeah, totally agree. I'm going to have to let you go, though, G. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and I'll speak to you after the hopefully a Leicester win at the weekend. Thanks.
Yeah, check out your blood pressure, mate, because you want to take care, mate. Take care. All right, come on, you Spurs, through another. We're going to be there, mate. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, Barnaby.
Okay, apologies. I had to cut him off there. But next up is Chris in front of, I believe, what is that? The 61 FA Cup and double winning side.
There we go. There it is, mate.
Chris, it makes you look very weird, I will say that. But if you stay pretty still, then you're okay. How do you feel after that one, Chris?
I thought I saw some improvement in the first half. Mm-hmm. I saw a bit better. I was watching the fullbacks. I didn't enjoy the game much overall, I must admit. But I was watching the fullbacks and their position and their starting positions and their positions to get back in defence. And it's a lot better. And when we started playing well in the first half, they weren't playing crazy handball. Our forward passing was greatly improved. There's more imagination in it. We create a lot of chances. But then you get like the Kulusevski one. He plays a ball that's half a yard short for putting Melton in. And that just shows a lack of quality in our passing. And then we get to the second half and we start playing backs to the wall, backs to goal. Football, we can't string 2 passes together. We can't get.
Why do you think that was, Chris? Why do you think we struggled in the first 20 minutes of that second half, especially?
Well, I think Ange would do well to play the game back and listen to what Glenn Hoddle was saying, and just change your tactics around, and just don't give them all the space in midfield. Don't let their centre half just ping it around from left to right. so they can create they can create a bit of space on the wings and get crosses in and put us under pressure. I think, we need to press a bit harder. It's just putting the effort in. It's just everyone's played a game, everyone's played football at any sort of level, where you just need to get stuck into the other team and put them off and make them make mistakes and get the ball back.
Is that where their exhaustion comes in, though, Chris?
I don't see that. I don't see the exhaustion. I mean, everyone. I think it's a common topic. They're going to be tired. Yeah, fine, but I don't see that the players are tired. I mean, they're not. I know we haven't got a big squad at the moment, and they're probably, there's a bit of recovery time, bits and pieces with it. I didn't see anyone particularly tired today. So, okay.
What do you think we need if we're clearly they're trying to get some players in? What do you think we need?
What do we need?
Yeah.
So you can either look at what do we need immediately, or what do we need going forward? We need a proper number 6. Or whatever that position is. That's someone in midfield. That's that's a Declan Rice sort of player. So it's I know
they're the most expensive players right now, the Sixers, aren't they?
Exactly. But
the fact that Rodri just won the Ballon d'Or, I think even adds value to the number 6s, doesn't it? You need someone physical, a ball player who can play that quarterback role, but is also physical enough to knock players off the ball as they kind of come through and reads the game unbelievably well.
Yeah, you've gone from like the Makelele, just like goes from one tackle to another, plays like 2 players, into the Rodri who does exactly the same thing, but then can spring the transition coming, and that's what we need. I mean, I thought that player was Basuma, to be honest, but he seems to. I don't know what's happened to him. I thought
Bentancur did all right in that position tonight, to be honest, especially considering it was his first game for a while. But it feels like we need someone who can just do it all, and Bentancur feels more like a natural 8 who can get up and down the pitch to me.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit of attacking potential, isn't he?
Let me ask you then. Let me ask you, Leicester at the weekend and Elfsborg next week. Do you think this can be a little run of 3-game wins for Spurs?
I think if we continue to play the bad football we play, and we start playing this crazy Ange ball, because I thought we didn't play so much Ange ball today, and I don't think that's the way to play football. That's my view, is that if we carry on doing that, we'll struggle against Leicester. And it might be another 1-1, or whatever. It was 1-1 last time, wasn't it? I suspect we've probably got too much for them, and we probably will win. I don't think it's going to be an easy game at all.
Jamie Vardy will fancy it.
Yeah, anyway, exactly.
Chris Lickson, thanks so much for being a part of the show. Really appreciate it. And let's talk after, hopefully, another win going forward.
Brilliant. Thank you, Barnaby.
Oh, man, thanks a lot. Okay, next up, I am going to Simon, who I believe you're in the USA, aren't you, Simon? How are you feeling after that 3-2 win for Spurs?
Good, man. Good to be on again. And I mean, it's a win. Doesn't matter how you do it. At the end of the day, it's a win. I mean, we've been on such a bad run lately. I'll take anything that we can get. I mean, it's just one of those things right now, man. It's like anytime I turn on anything, we're getting a ton of sticks from everybody, and so there's plenty of sticks to go around. I don't need to give my team any more sticks. I'll get behind them. I'll support them. It's nothing good comes easy, right? I mean,
true. The day is darkest before the dawn, or whatever it is. Simon, answer me this: who played? Sorry, you can finish what you're saying, but who, just after that, let me know who you think played really well for Spurs. Where were the real positives on the park today?
I thought that Archie played really well, especially towards that end. He was really trying to push out, trying to hold on to the ball. And, it just, to see him kind of drop down, at the final whistle,
Yeah, I saw that.
He gave it all. And, as a fan, as a supporter, that's all I can ask of my players, results, they're going to come and go. But, as long as the players give it all, that's all I can ask for. Just one of those things, man. I mean, it's like, it's hard to be positive right now, based on how things has been going. But, if you really truly love something,
Yeah.
You know, you stick with it to the end. And, you know, I love my Hotspurs. And so no matter what, you know, no matter who the manager is, who's the players, you know, it's my club. And, you know, I'm just gonna keep on being here. Like I said, you know, like there's plenty of people out there already that's gonna, you know, pointing the finger, you know, trying to blame this and that, whatnot, you know. Hey, you know, there's plenty of those already. You know, it's my choice. And what I choose to do is just, you know, be positive and always back my players no matter what.
Simon, I love the positivity, mate. I really appreciate you getting involved in the show today. And let's speak after what will hopefully be another win against Leicester at the weekend. Top man.
Thanks, man. Have a
Cheers,
good one.
mate. And you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Okay, next up, over to the Czech Republic and one of our regulars, Steve, who was just looking at his phone, but it doesn't matter, Steve. We got a win. Is it time for me to be more positive? How do you feel?
Yes, maybe. I do think you should be a bit more positive. It's very difficult after you watch the game and come straight on. I couldn't do that and you know, contain your emotions, which is difficult to do. Yeah, I thought we could have put it to bed a lot earlier in the first half. Fantastic goal, as you said, from Maddison. A brilliant ball from Porro, and then unfortunately Porro missed probably the easiest chance of the whole evening for us. That was a shame. And then
I thought actually Bergvall was the one who missed the easiest chance, actually, just before half time, didn't he?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
And the header from the free kick.
That's true. The header, you mean? Yeah, that was a good chance also. But with his feet, Porro should have perhaps put that away. And then I think Richarlison, you know, he had one really good, reasonable chance, and he sort of was scuffed towards the keeper, easily saved. And Sonny had a couple of chances before he got his goal, and fantastic goals he got too. Everyone looking particularly tired, I thought, except for one or two players. So, the positives for me were Archie Gray, fantastic in defence, a lot of blocks, a lot of covering, but also going forward as well, driving, linking up down the left side. That's probably about it, because even Kulu was looking extremely tired and had a couple of balls played down to him down that right channel, down the wing there, and he just was sort of shrugged off the ball and lost it. So he obviously needs a rest as well. So, Steve,
do you know what I really realise now more than ever is Ange's system is so perfect if we had pacey players in that forward line. Like the space you could get into and behind if we had acceleration pace players in behind. And that's what we're missing. We're so one-paced, aren't we?
Yeah. It's funny that I mean, it's not. I'm not saying to you that it's rocket science, but I was also thinking of that towards the middle of the game. I was thinking, you know, we haven't really got anyone with pace up front anymore, because Son's lost that yard or half a yard. Kula's extremely tired, but he's not a pacey player. No. He bulldozes his way through. And neither Richarlison or Solanke, when he's back, is particularly pacey.
Neither is Maddison, and neither is Bentancur, and neither is Bissouma, and neither is Porro.
None of them are.
Udogie's got a bit of pace about him, but he gets caught in that inverted role, so he doesn't really get to use it that much. So
that's right.
You know, I've talked a little bit about how I think we need to bring in physicality. Players with physicality can play handball, but we need pace as well, and that's why it's such a shame that Odeberg got so injured, because I think he might have thrived. In this system.
Definitely agree. I think he would have done the same as perhaps as with Solomon if we hadn't have loaned him out to Leeds, but we did.
It's interesting with Solomon because he started games. He started that Burnley away game that we won like 4-1 or 4-2 at the beginning of last season.
He made a couple of goals, if I'm not mistaken.
Made a couple of goals, but then he got a bad injury, and then Ange was just like, "Well, you're off." And I mean, look, he's scoring goals in the Championship, so who knows? But
yeah. No, definitely, and I agree with your comment about physicality, as you mentioned before. We've got a lot of slightly built players, you know, even in the midfield. There's not enough robustness there, you know, apart from Kulu, who plays wide as opposed to in the midfield. You know, Sarr is a very slightly built player and brushed off the ball. I'd like to see a bit more. People who, as you say, people who are good on the ball but they have a bit of physicality about them.
Yeah,
I was particularly. You can see it even in this level that Dragusin is not really up to it. You know, his when he gets a ball, he takes too long to control it, and his distribution most of the time isn't that great, and that's sort of putting it politely.
Yeah, he's a brilliant box defender. He's a brilliant box defender, but he's not a ball playing defender. That's for sure.
He's good in the air. I don't know why he wasn't covering the guy who came in at the end at the far post, and Porro was trying to cover him. But being an experienced, a keeper yourself, you know about goalkeeping. Do you think that Austin should have come for that cross? Because he was thinking of coming for it. He made a step forward and then he stepped back, and I thought that was
for the second goal.
Come for it. What do you think? Should he
for the second goal?
Yeah, the second goal.
Yeah, I think if he'd come for it, it would have just sailed over his head. I think he realised that if he came for it, it wouldn't. So he tried to stay put and see if the guy would head it. I mean, if you remember, there was exactly the same chance that Kramaric headed onto the bar from the first. Earlier on that second half, and they were smart. You know, like I said in my post match, it's like the analysts of oppositions are clearly saying just play the ball over the top to the back post, and you can head it in. It's pretty simple, and that for me, as I've said time and time again, is very frustrating. But just before I let you go, then Leicester coming up. It's not going to be an embarrassing one, is it?
Sorry,
it's not going to be an embarrassing one, is it?
No, I don't think so. I hope not. He's got a lot of pace, though, hasn't he, Vardy, if he plays? They're really on bad form at the moment. I think we've got a good record against them over the years, but we used to have Harry Kane. We should win that one. I just looked at that. When you said I'm looking at my phone, I was looking at the league table for the Europa League table.
Yeah, we're in fourth,
hoping that United obviously lose or draw to Rangers, and they're up there. And in the league, that both the teams above us, what were they? West Ham and someone else. They're both playing away at reasonable teams, so they might drop points. So if we beat Leicester, what I'm trying to say is we'll move up. We'll move up to about 12th.
Okay.
Possibly higher if Brentford lose because we've got
Dizzy
a better
heights.
goal average.
Dizzy heights.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, when we start worrying about that we could make the middle of the table. You know, it's good. You know, not great performance tonight. I don't know who said earlier on. I totally disagree with them. The chat before who said that we were abysmal or something. I totally disagree with that. We weren't abysmal. It was some nice football in the first half. We were knocking it around, some nice touches, creating chances, and put 2 away from 4, and got the job done on a difficult night with a very threadbare team. So that's
okay, Steve, good positivity from you, Steve. I appreciate that, mate. Let's thanks for getting involved in the show. Let's go to the next one. Thanks a lot, mate. Bye bye.
Cheers now. Bye bye.
Next up, we have Stuart. Stuart, thanks for being so patient, mate. How do you feel after that 3-2 victory away from home at Hoffenheim?
It's a win, mate. I don't care. It's 3 points. It's a win. We can all talk about, what the performance was like. Reality is the fellas are knackered. We had some good performances. I thought Archie Gray, Bergvall, outstanding. Bentancur was good. Maddison, not so bad. He'd been patchy in the season. Yeah. So, let's pick the positives out of it. We can all see what the problems are. We all know what the problems are. It's 3 points. All we got to do is get, beat the Danes Elfsborg next week, and then we avoid the round of death. Crack on.
So do you think that there's a little bit too much noise about some of the negativity that's going around? And listen, I just, for me, I'll try and explain my negativity in my post matches because I've watched that game so many times in Europe and in England with Spurs where somehow something stops them from just working for 90 minutes. Now, I get all the caveats, I do. But overall, do you think there's too much noise and too much negativity and that maybe even the club should come out and say, listen, whatever happens, Postecoglou is going to be the manager for the rest of the season. He's been dealt a bad hand and we'll see what happens at the end of the season.
Absolutely not a vote of confidence from the club because that's your kiss of death right there. But there is too much negativity. I mean, you get the keyboard warriors on social media. They're all shouting their faces off. I mean, the reality is we had what? Two 18-year-olds out there today. We put on a sub of a 17-year-old. Look at our bench.
Yeah.
I don't think we had a senior player on the bench, did we? So, you know, it's you can't go coaching off the team, right? The team is knackered. This is the worst I've known it, and I've known Christian Gross, right? So this is the worst I've known it ever. But you talk about Ange Ball. You can't play Ange Ball if your players are knackered. As you said earlier to one of the guests, that you need pace. I don't agree with you on Porro and Udogie, by the way. I think Porro is way quicker than Udogie. But and Porro's got a terrific shot on him when he gets up there.
He's a brilliant player, I think.
He's I love Pedro. But so I'm a bit biased, maybe. It's a bromance going on. No, I think there's way too much negativity going on. I am massively frustrated with the transfer window. I'm fuming, in fact. I mean, we've known that we had a problem since the first week of December. And I said this to Chris on a previous pod. You know, don't tell me that the fellas weren't getting together and saying, right, you know, we might have a problem here. We need to fix it. Why Lange didn't have 2 players to walk through the door on the 2nd of January, I do not know. Why we're scrabbling about on the 23rd of January. How many games have we had? How many games are in January?
I think they've got like 9 total,
Yeah. So 9 games, 2 in the Europa League, 7 league games. You've got a squad that's knackered, and you've done nothing for the manager. As far as I'm concerned, and all these people, Ange out, Ange this, Ange that. Ange is not the problem. And
Stuart, can I just ask one question? Is there not a chance that players don't want to come to us?
100%. Would you right now?
Well, then, so how are they expected to have 2 players lined up at the door on January the 2nd if the players that literally don't want to come?
Because the problem is, if you look at like the Kolo Morani player that we were linked with, I said to Chris right at the beginning, does anyone seriously believe Levy's going to get that job done? No way. Player's going to turn around and say, right, I want 200 grand a week. Levy's going to turn around and say, well, no, our top level is 180 and I'm not going to break the wage.
Yeah, but with all due respect, mate, he's gone to Juventus. You not think Juventus are a bigger club than Spurs? They are. They're more traditional. Any player is going to choose Juventus over Spurs, surely.
Well, you say that, but we've had players choosing us over Bayern Munich, like Dragic, or choosing us over Barcelona.
But that's where I agree, and that's where it was like we all talked about kind of the cult of Ange and his ability to have that phone call. But I think it's harder to have that phone call when you're 13th, 14th, or 15th in the league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. Right now, do you want to come to Tottenham? Well, you're going to look at it and think, that could be a poison chalice. Yeah. Whereas, but also, if you look at recruiting players. If you look at all the sides that are signing players right now, and you've got
Man City mainly,
yeah, I get that. But even trading in the Premiership or across Europe, anyone who sees Daniel Levy's on the phone, you're just going to think, no thanks. I cannot deal with that man, because it's like drilling your own teeth, and so people just don't want to deal with him.
Yeah, I do. I listen, as I've said, I'm not anti-ENIC, I'm not pro-ENIC, I'm not anti-Levy, pro-Levy, but I do know, and I felt that before, I agree with you. I do think that although everybody who talks about Daniel Levy has a lot of respect for him as a businessman, I do agree that a lot of them will probably just be like, I know what you're going to do. You're going to quote me one price, and then an hour before it's signed, you're going to quote me a price of 5 million less and hope
Hazard, case in point,
Stuart, listen, thank you so much. I'm running out of time, so I've got to let you go. But let's talk after what will hopefully be a win at Leicester. I appreciate it, mate. Cheers.
We'll see you. Cheers. Bye.
Okay, next up is John. John, I'm afraid I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to be quite quick. But please do tell me, you're a regular on this. How do you feel after that? Is it just important that we got the win? Is that the vital thing?
Yeah, it's important we got the win. Although I feel completely drained after watching the whole game.
Me too, John. Thank God.
Honestly, I feel knackered, absolutely knackered. And I ain't done a lot today. So I've got no reason to be knackered other than watching that game. And, I thought the second half was awful. And it's funny how people have different opinions about players. The geezer before said about Porro, favourite player. I think he's the most overrated player in our team.
You didn't like that pass from Maddison's goal?
Oh, brilliant. No, going forward is great, but his first job is meant to defend. And every time I watch this play, the player on the other team down his side's always got the beating of him. With the second goal, as soon as the ball come off the guy's foot for the cross, I said goal. I could see straight away.
He's never goal side of his man there ever in any match.
No, and the thing was, Dragerson was in the middle watching another guy. Poro had no need to be where he was. Absolutely terrible. But I see it too often with him. Like I said a few weeks ago, I'd have Jed Spence at right back, and you could maybe look at Poro playing in front of him sometimes. I don't know. And if I've got to go soon, I'll just say that Son, I think like what you said earlier on, you don't lose class overnight. He's always going to be able to score goals like that, but he does have to miss out a few games, be rested, come on as sub in a few games, and he will get us goals. He's a great player.
And John, before I let you go, tell me this prediction for the Leicester game.
We've got to win with where we are in the table, but I wouldn't put 50 pence on us winning that game. At the moment, the players are completely knackered, 100%. Most of them are going to be playing against Leicester. Yeah. They've had a rest all week. They're all athletes, professional Premiership footballers. I can see us getting overrun a little bit. I really can.
Oof. Well, I hope you're wrong. But John, thanks so much for being part of the show. And let's speak after the Leicester game. Thanks a lot, mate.
No worries. Cheers.
And finally, thanks for being so patient, Steve. I haven't got long with you, I'm afraid, but just give us a quick one. How do you feel after the 3-2 win?
I'll make it a quick one. I mean, obviously, I'm pleased Anne's proved me wrong tonight because I thought we might lose tonight. And I thought we might lose against Leicester on Sunday, but I'm going to be positive. Really pleased for Sonny tonight because even though there was a bit of luck for his first goal, it must have done him the world of good because look at how he put the third one away. So I'm really happy tonight. But it means nothing if we don't beat Leicester on Sunday because that is a relegation battle. We have to beat Leicester. And let's hope we do, Barnaby. Let's hope we do. Who else? You loved Sonny's performance tonight. Well, who else? Sonny was fantastic. I thought Archie Gray, when he made that tackle right near the end, what a player that boy is. Fantastic.
Belies his years, doesn't he?
Yeah. And if we just say one last thing about Daniel Levy, look, we know when Manchester United got Bruno Fernandes and we got Gedson, it sort of summed him up. But one thing I've got to say is he's not going anywhere until he gets 5 billion. And one thing I will say is I don't want our heritage tarnished by taking like Newcastle United Saudi dirty blood money. So it's like you say, it's who you get in. Yeah, we could do with a better chairman, but it's got to be the right person. I don't want to sell the club out to Arab money or Russian money like Chelsea did and like City and Newcastle have done. Because our Jewish heritage, I think that would be wrong, certainly to go down the Saudi route after they murdered that journalist. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that.
No, that's fair enough. I think a lot of people would agree with you there. Listen, thanks so much for being a part of the show, Steve. And
thanks,
I'll speak to you again.
Come on, you Spurs.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the fan show. Really appreciate it. If you'd like to appear on a future episode, email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's very important to us that this channel gives everyone a voice, particularly from those all around the world. So wherever you are from, please do get in touch.